bought my first car, a motorcycle, with my brother. It was a Honda, and this Honda was beautiful. It was all beat up, but it was beautiful. It ran, halfway decent and fast. So I decided that I needed a car because we were attending a school. This is 1980, and I got me a Camaro, a 1974 Camaro. To this day, I think that is the best car ever made. 1974 Camaro with a 250 inline 6-cylinder engine. This end was beautiful. It was red. It was shiny. And I bought it for $1,500, and I paid $50 a month on payments. The gasoline back then was like 53 cents a gallon or something like that. And the first accessory that I installed on the car was a CV radio, Citizens Band Radio. Everyone was communicating with Citizens Band radios because there was no phones. There were no cell phones. That was the only way to communicate. So on the way to a school, running around the neighborhood, we all spoke to one another on CV radios. And as a clown that I always try to be, I installed a PA system, a public broadcast system, a loudspeaker inside the hood of the car. I can switch my radio onto broadcasting sound through a speaker to everyone near the car. And I never forgot the one night my mother and my brother, my sister, and the neighbors, we all crawl in the Camaro. We were like 7 inside that Camaro. I mean, it was crowded. And my mother picked up the microphone and asked me what this thing does. And I explained to her, what it does. And I demonstrated to her. And we spoke to some people on the radio, and she really got into it. So she selected the PA system, and we driving around, the movie theater, the mall. We went to a bowling alley, and as we drive around, my mother grabbed the PA system and started telling everyone near, no PP on the street, no PP on the street. And we were just cracking up, It was a very nice experience. Now, why am I talking about CV radios and old cars and old technology? Well, because something came to my attention that I didn't realize there was happening. The reason is I quit using CV radios. I quit the hobby of communicating on radios. I had a friend of mine. There was a ham radio operator, Mr. Bill Pruitt, and Mr. Bill Pruitt, a very knowledgeable man, had a code, and to this day I remember his ham code. It's WT R4. I think it was WTR4. And if you see W, anyone with the W in the prefix is an old timer. This is 1940s prefix. So I learned quite a lot about ham radio and Morse code and so on. And CV radio got too crowded, got taken over by just craziness. It was no longer fun when you grab the microphone and you start broadcasting, and somebody on the other end start calling you negro and go back to Cuba and Mexico and went back, they're attacking you constantly. So, I finally decided that bandwidth, it was not for me. It was too primitive, and I got into some troubles with people on the radio, physically, because I was very eloquent on the radio, and they received a lot of punishment and could not win the argument, so they resort to physical violence, going down the street. And of course I won that one too, so it became too dangerous. The risk was too high for no reason. There was no gain, so I decided to throw away all my gear, and that was it with the CB radio. Yesterday, a friend of mine called me and asked me to help him with his CB radio, and I said, sure, I know all about it. I got vast experience, so I stopped by where he was at a mechanic shop. They already installed the radio on the truck, and I read the instructions, and right away I understood there was something different on this radio, and I continued to read, and I found the model, what I thought was the model of the radio, and it say GMRS. I thought it was the model of the radio. It's a Midland radio, made in the United States of America, probably with Chinese components. So I couldn't figure this radio out, and I said, let me go and do a little research on it, and I found the model number and or the serial number, and then I realized, hey, wait a minute, what I'm looking at is not the model number, it's something else. The model number was MT400 or something like that, Midland. And then I realized this is not a CB radio. This is something else. And it turned out that it is something call it General Mobile Radio System. It's a new rules and regulation the FCC of the United States of America acquire to allow people for a fee to utilize a different bandwidth. The CB radio utilizes low frequency on the AM side, and this radio was utilizing higher frequencies, and they call it channels because they assign a frequency to a specific channel, and you can use repeaters on these radios. So of course that really sparked my imagination, because now I can have a little more control of who I'm speaking to. I can assign a code to a friend, and that radio can only communicate on that frequency with my radio with that code. It's like a tone, if you will, and I can actually utilize a repeater. So I got interested in radio, and I realized that since 1980 to today, the rules and regulations are completely different than back in the days. Back in the days, was free for all, and we have what we call amateur radios, or people who just enjoy radio, and they invented all kind of antennas and stuff. But now the government, the politicians got into the gig, and I realized that they utilizing even a different spectrum of radio, like from AM to FAM. For example, back in the day, in 1980, I had a CB radio, and this CB radio broadcast maybe 5 watts. Sometimes I can tune it really well and put a linear or something, and I can illegally actually broadcast like 250 watts, and sometimes it burned my radio and so on. We were experimenting, we were very young and experimenting, different ideas and technologies. But now the government is taking control of that, and appear to me like they no longer have radio as what it was, as a way of communicating. Now they turn it into a marketing device, a different market, because now they fixed the rules and regulations to allow these radios to broadcast on the FAM spectrum. So that means that if you have all radios, like I do have, all radios, they only transmit and broadcast on AM, and I pick up this radio and I install it in my car, and I'm running around town, and I'm driving down the interstate talking to people, but actually I cannot speak anymore to people unless they have an old radio, because if you go and grab a new radio, these two radios are not compatible. So what is it for me to do if I want to get back into the radio business or the radio hobby? Well, that means that I have to buy me a new radio. So there you have it. They change the rules, and they change all these regulations, not to battle the ability of communicating, not to battle the ability of people growing and designing new ideas and new technologies. No, what they're doing is getting in the way, so you have to be forced to buy what they make. So now all these corporations like Midland, Cobra, all these people are now forcing the hobbyists to spend money. And where that money is going to? Well, that money is going to the politicians, so the politicians can pay the information technologies, so the information technologies can brainwash you head, call you, and call you negros on the civil radio, and call you wetback on the civil radio. But now they no longer call you negros and wetback, and now they're calling you Latinx and African Americans. So now no longer the whites can speak on the civil radio, because now the whites they are what I call white made English. Now they have no money. Why not have no money? Because they've been forced to spend more money on the little radios. So as you see, they are destroying not just the great communities of this great nation of ours, and protecting one side, like the whites. No, they even destroying the whites too. They destroying everybody. So if you call yourself whites, hey, make sure that you align yourself with the Latinx, because the English are here to destroy you, to sell you crap, to even take your radios away, your spectrum of communication, to keep you dumb. That is what they're here for. So that is what is happening, and I don't know. I'm getting back into radios because now I'm very how can I say charged, if you will, of these new technologies they're forcing on people, and that might give me how can I say a window that I can look through into possibilities. Who never know? I might come up with a good idea, like I did with the PA system on my car, that I can, have a good time with my family, driving around town, telling people, hey, Don't pee on the street now. Well, saludos to all, and check out this new technology, and regulations. I think it's FCC part 95 all the way to 97. I'm not quite sure. I used to know quite a lot, but not any longer. But you guys go up there and start communicating, and do not allow the politicians to dictate your life, to make laws and to pass laws to favor the industrialist and leave you behind. Saludos.